I ain't gonna lie. I've been holding a lot of shit in lately. Man, I just had like a 3.5 hour cry.
What do I owe the pleasure? What do I owe the pleasure? Last time we speaking together, we wash your car for you. We wash your car with no shame in our hustle. When you goddamn getting into that wash, and you know that tip gonna be good like goddamn this cold. Y'all better stop buying this slippery soap, man. What's going on there?
The streets are buzzing and no one saw this coming. 50 Cent just unleashed some tapes that have Rick Ross spiraling. And trust, this isn't your average hip-hop beef anymore. These leaked tapes involving Ross and Diddy have taken the internet by storm. And once you hear what's on them, it'll all make sense why Ross is ready to torch the entire industry. The way 50 orchestrated this move, pure chess. Legendary chaos.
Bruh. Just like New York, just like Mount Vernon, New York City, Mount Vernon, and Miami, all that is the same, bruh. Nobody wants to be near him. Nobody wants to touch what he touched, be where he at. You understand? It's crazy, bruh, how his fall from grace, which was never from grace. It's just like the devil just kicked him out of hell. Because he was never in nothing graceful and did anything graceful. You know what I'm saying? I don't care what you say about, okay, he did the music, he had the bad boy legacy and everything like that, man. But, you know, a few albums, a few people, you know, made to be famous, but they not here to tell their story. Black Rob, Biggie, Craig Mack. They not here to tell their story, bro. And now you got everybody telling his story.
Yeah, and I know 50, he did a recent interview with US Weekly saying that the reason why rappers are quiet about, you know, Diddy's situation is because they've been to his parties and they don't know what got caught on tape.
Bruh, those people who was caught at Diddy's party did not know that he had 250 tape recorders in that house. That's a big house.
Girl, let me tell you, 50 Cent just proved he's been playing the longest game in hip-hop history with this one. Back in 2009, when Rick Ross started clowning him with that Officer Ricky mess, everyone thought it was just another rap beef. But 50, he was playing chess while Ross was out here playing checkers. While Ross was busy taking his victory laps, thinking he'd won their little back and forth, 50 was moving in silence, like a snake in the grass. He was stacking receipts, building connections, and watching every flex Ross put on display. Wingstop money, car collections, all of it. But instead of clapping back in the moment, 50 was patient. He let Ross bask in the limelight, waiting for the perfect moment to pull the rug out. Fast forward to now. Ross is everywhere on social media, hyping his new Checkers franchise, dropping business gems, and thinking he's untouchable. That's when 50 made his move. If you were watching 50's Instagram the week before, the setup was there. First, he started posting cryptic messages like, "Some people ain't broke, they just fake it real good." Then came the ominous, "Tick, tick, tick, time's almost up." Nobody had a clue what he was talking about, but you know the streets were paying attention. Then, out of nowhere, on a random Tuesday afternoon, 50 dropped the bomb. No warning, no teaser, just that first tape, cold-blooded. He didn't even bother with a caption, letting the footage speak for itself. And honey, when I tell you the industry exploded, within minutes, social media was on fire. Group chats were lit, and everybody was scrambling to figure out how deep this was about to go. 50 didn't just strike, he scorched the earth.
But he had 250 tape recorders in that house that they took, that the feds found. So now with them finding all that and you being at a Diddy party, you know you may have done something that was caught on one of those tapes. You just better pray to God that they don't recognize you. Those people who know that they did something, no, they're not going to speak out. They're not going to say nothing. What part of the game is that? They are not going to come forward and tell on themselves. Nah, not at all. Ice Cube, he said it himself, bro. He said that Diddy's been targeted because of what he said about those folks and those people. Now, the people who was on those tapes may feel like Diddy might be targeting them. Because if he's asked about who is this, who is that, and he's under oath with the federal government, he got to tell them. He's not going to plead the fifth.
Yeah, I know that got to be a terrible feeling, man. You know you did something wrong at Diddy party, and you hoping and praying that it's not caught on tape.
But they don't think they did nothing wrong. That's their lifestyle. That's their lifestyle, bro. I ask guys all the time, if two men lay down, how many homos get up? What you mean? I mean what I mean. It's what it is.
The reactions came in like wildfire. Industry executives were calling emergency meetings, PR teams were scrambling to control the damage, and anyone, even loosely tied to Ross or Diddy, suddenly went radio silent. This wasn't your run-of-the-mill diss track drama or some petty DM expose. This was something else entirely. The sheer calculation behind it was chilling. 50 had been lying in wait for years, patiently biding his time until Ross was at his peak, only to drag him down to his lowest point. The craziest part? Ross didn't even realize what was happening at first. Word is he was deep in a business meeting when his phone started blowing up. Calls, texts, notifications all coming in at once. His team was trying to reach him, and everyone was sending him the leaked tape. At first, he thought it was just another one of 50's usual stunts. But when he finally saw the footage, that's when it hit him. This was no joke. And honey, if you thought that first tape was bad, the streets are buzzing that 50's got a lot more in his arsenal. He's been sitting on this dirt for years, waiting for the perfect time to unleash it. It's like he scripted an entire revenge thriller and made Ross the unknowing lead. But here's the real kicker. That first tape, it was just the opening act. Now everyone's asking the same question. What else does 50 have in his vault? If he waited 14 years to drop this bombshell, there's no telling what other receipts he's been keeping in the chamber. Whatever it is, one thing's for sure. Ross is bracing for impact, and the entire industry is watching with bated breath.
Doesn't mean I'm confirming or I'm 100% factual, but it's somebody in this story of things that seems more reliable than others, Race, is what I'll say it, just to protect my sources. But this source informed me of who these A-list celebrities are on these tapes that are being allegedly auctioned off online and through the networks. And it's put me in a little bit of a bind because I like to be fully transparent with the audience. I want to say things, but I also realize from what I'm told, because again, I haven't seen them directly yet. I haven't. And I don't know if I want to. Race, I want your advice on that too. But the problem I have is just like, typically I want to report these things, but I got to be careful legally, ethically, morally as to what we report on here. Because as Ariel, the lawyer here, did admit, and I can attest based on the information I got from a separate reliable source, People in these videos don't know they're being videotaped. That's a big issue, Race, right? Let's start out right there. If there are people on these tapes that don't know that they were being filmed, is that okay to talk about and to share?
I have a big problem with that, as do you, Andy. And you tend to be an ethical guy, and you're taking the high ground here. Notwithstanding the fact that you may have some significant information and reliable information. But the reality is that, look, I mean, if people were recorded non-consensually and you're the one to identify them, I think that's a problem, right? And I think anytime anyone has content, right, this is not an email, this is not a text message, this is video. And there's specific statutes, without using specific language I don't want to get into, but everybody knows what we're talking about here.
It's Diddy with this person. I'll say that. It's Diddy with this person. Actually, yes.
Yeah, and see, the problem is, again, like non-consensually recorded, you've got a victim here who may not want to be publicly identified. That's the problem. That's the problem. And they have a right to proceed if they want to, whether it's criminally or civilly, without being identified, because we know what's going to happen. As soon as they identify themselves, there's going to be a bunch of people that come out of the woodwork who are going to unequivocally harass them and claim that didn't happen, and they're making stuff up. And there's the victims that we want to protect here, and that's significant.
Well, it's interesting because here's why I wanted to have this conversation, because I know a lot of you are like, Andy, just say it. No, I'm not going to say them, but I wanted to have this conversation as to why we're not saying it and why I think others haven't yet said it, Raised, because again, legally, ethically, morally, it's just not right. Now, there's an argument I've had with people who are like, well, they knew what they were doing with Diddy. Like these were consensual acts, like they knew, and he filmed other times. So I don't know what the big deal is. It's going to come out. It's going to come out is what I keep hearing from other reliable sources. It may come out, but it's not going to come out via me. That's just to warn you all, because I don't think it's wise for us to put out something like you just confirmed it without the consent of the other person in the video. Because again, from what I'm gathering based on some of these tapes, and again, we're still learning more and I haven't seen them with my own eyes.
Remember all those times Ross swore up and down that he never did business with certain people? That's what makes these tapes so explosive, because baby, the receipts don't lie, and 50's got Ross caught in 4K doing exactly what he spent years denying. The footage 50 dropped isn't just a little slip-up. It shows Ross in some seriously compromising situations with Diddy, and we're not talking about casual business meetings. No, we're talking private parties, where Ross is getting way too friendly with people he always claimed to have never even met. But the real kicker? The audio. There's a clip where Ross is straight up bragging about how he and Diddy set up these special arrangements with up-and-coming artists. The way he casually talks about it makes it clear this wasn't a one-off deal. This was a system. Industry vets who've seen the footage are saying this kind of stuff could get someone blackballed from the business for good. What's really got the streets shook is how these tapes tie back to those old rumors about Ross's early days in the game. You know all the stories he's been shutting down for years about how he really got his start? Well, these tapes are painting a whole new picture. Ross is on camera chilling with characters he swore he never did business with and talking about shady moves he's always denied. It's like the truth is coming out piece by piece, and this time, there's no way to deny it.
Isn't it weird that the government was so interested in Diddy's baby oil that they took 1,000 bottles away from his house? If the government took 1,000 bottles of baby oil and somebody had things what appeared to be baby oil, and then you have to listen to the prosecutor. He said that they seized 1,000 bottles what allegedly to be baby oil. Allegedly to be baby oil. So that's telling people that it wasn't baby oil. And people think that that was baby oil, they out their mind. I don't believe it was baby oil. Yo, bro, when they went up in there, they knew what they was gonna find. They knew what was ever in that baby oil or that those bottles that appeared to be baby oil, they knew about that at first. You gotta realize 9 times out of 10, that individual that got caught at the airport, that was supposed to be their carrier, told them what they was doing and what they had. I wouldn't put him past that he told them everything. So when they went up in there, they knew they had to take whatever was out there, and that thing that appeared to be baby oil, they took that. They got to test every last one of them. Let's see how much, let's see how many of those come back to be baby oil. Bro, listen to me. Costco don't sell that much baby oil. Where you know sell that much baby oil?
Yeah, I don't know any store that sell that much baby oil. I know Costco, they came out and said that they don't even sell baby oil.
My sentiments exactly.
But you personally, right, what do you believe was in the baby oil?
If you ever seen a massage parlor being raided and they walking out the people, do they take the massage oil with them when they go? No, they just walk out the people who are being arrested.
The reactions inside the industry have been nothing short of wild. One executive, who's staying anonymous because they're still active in the game, said watching these tapes felt like witnessing someone's entire career flash before their eyes. Another source close to Ross's label admitted they had to call emergency meetings because no one knew how many more bombs 50 was ready to drop. This isn't your typical rap beef where someone exposes old DMs or throws out a diss track. Nah. These tapes have Ross and Diddy looking real suspicious. Especially with all the other allegations swirling around right now, the timing could have been worse. Ross was trying to expand his business empire with his Wingstop franchises, Checkers deal, and all those other brand partnerships on the line. And Diddy? He's dealing with his own mess. The scary part for Ross is how these tapes could threaten everything he's built. Once corporate America sees you tangled up in this kind of drama, they start getting nervous about having their brand connected to yours. But what really made the tension unbearable was knowing 50 was sitting on more footage. Every time Ross tried to deny something or explain it away, 50 would come back with another clip, making Ross look worse and worse. It was like 50 had been following him with a camera for years, just biding his time until the perfect moment to unleash these bombs. When word got back to Ross about what was actually in those tapes, things got real heated, real fast. It's one thing to hear people talking about what they saw, but it's a whole other situation to know there's actual video evidence out there showing everything you've been trying to hide. And the way Ross responded, baby, that's when everything went from bad to worse.
If you ever seen a person getting arrested and the people being arrested in those brothel houses, do they take out the stuff in the brothel houses? No, they don't. They take the individuals who are being arrested out the brothel houses. For them to take 1,000 bottles of baby oil, it's like that they did not leave one. They left people there, but they ain't leave not one bottle. Nobody needed no baby oil. So my whole thing about it is that there was something in that other than baby oil. That's why they took all the bottles. And 9 times out of 10, if I would give it a wild guess, it was, and like some of the people told me, it was probably that GHB.
What's that?
I think it's gamma hydrox. I looked it up, bro. Let me see. See if I can find it. I know this is just showing everything like that, but oh no. Let me. Yo, somebody tap dance or sing or do something, you know what I'm saying, while I'm doing this. Oh, here it go right here. It's gamma hydroxy butyric. What is it effect on the body? It's a euphoria, drowsiness, decrease anxiety and memory impairment. It works on the nervous system and gives you this feeling of euphoria. So they take that and rubbed it on her, and you forget who you are, what you're doing. It can also give you memory loss, drowsiness, and that's under the DEA, the Drug Enforcement Administration.gov.
When those notifications started blowing up everyone's phones at 3 a.m., nobody was prepared for what they were about to see. Ross wasn't just mad, he was going scorched earth, and veteran PR experts were texting each other like, somebody needs to stop him before he ruins everything. Ross's first response hit Instagram like a bomb. 15 minutes of pure fury, full of threats and accusations that had his own team scrambling. He wasn't even trying to deny what was in those tapes anymore. He was going straight for 50's life. The way he was pacing back and forth in that video, looking like he hadn't slept in days, had people wondering if he'd finally lost it for real. Every hour brought a new explosion. First, it was the voice messages he started sending to anyone who shared the video, threatening lawsuits, making wild accusations, even dragging up old dirt that wasn't supposed to see the light of day. His team was trying to do damage control, but Ross wasn't hearing any of it. He was on live at 3 a.m., calling out names, airing out industry secrets, and making threats that were too reckless to take back. Things really got messy when Ross started dropping addresses, not just 50's known spots, but places where his family lived. That's when people started distancing themselves from him. His PR team sent out statements trying to clean up the mess, but Ross would hop right back online and undo their work in minutes. Even his closest business partners were calling, begging him to log off and stop before he burned every bridge he'd ever built. The whole situation had gone from a PR nightmare to a full-on meltdown, and nobody knew how it was going to end.
Activities with other, A-listers having activities together is what this is. And again, that's a potentially outing of somebody as well. You know what I mean? There's so many things here that happen in releasing of this private consensual moment that while salaciously everybody wants to know, and people are messaging me all the time, Andy, who's what? And it's like, I'm not gonna say, because there seem to be way too many things that these people in the tapes, whether consensual, whether they, whatever, didn't agree to put out there. And I would think that's a legal issue too for anybody who puts these out first, no?
Yeah, you nailed it. You can't without the consent of the victim. That's the problem. Somebody thinks that somebody has no idea, right? You said, well, didn't they know they're being recorded? No. I mean, in these situations, the assumption is they did not know. And that's what we believe right now is the victims did not know that they were being recorded. If the victim comes out and says, okay, yes, I knew I was recorded, and a statement is provided, that's a different story. But of course, you don't know that. So you, Andy, probably can't be the one to break that ice and be like, well, this is what I heard and this is what I know, and so I'm going to say it. And there's all kinds of hairy legal issues on that, right? With privacy and intrusion on seclusion is what we call it. It's a privacy violation. There could be defamation implications. There could be criminal implications. So you're doing the right thing by treading carefully. And I think more people should do this rather than get into speculation. Now, if you see the videos, even still, right? If somebody takes...
Not to interrupt, but that's the question. Like, am I allowed to see these videos? Like, if I were to ask this source, show me the videos, do I put myself in worse legal jeopardy?
That's another distinct legal issue, right? It's like you're watching something that someone didn't know they were being recorded of doing, right? And so it's dicey. It's dicey. Now, it would be different if you were an attorney and somebody's coming to you for purposes of defense or prosecution of a claim, a civil claim, or the filing, of some action to recover damages. That's a little different. But for purposes of, hey, look what I got, juicy gossip, and there are reporting outlets that I won't mention that will do stuff like this. I don't know that it's the smartest thing to do. I don't know that it's the careful thing to do. That's for sure. Or it's the ethical or moral thing to do.
Yeah, it's exactly. I'm not a lawyer, but maybe this source will show you, and then you can verify what we know. But here's the other problem. Even if we verify what we know, like as I watched what Ariel, the lawyer, got these tapes, and even, again, I don't want to get into the details, any remote details that could help explain or allude to even more of theories that are out there, or, debunk or confirm. But I will say, hearing what I heard, which again isn't confirmation, but hearing what I heard, it makes me dislike what Ariel's doing even more, because I think there are going to be people out there, if this information does get out in some way, that are going to deny that these people are victims, that they're going to try to say, oh no, they're just consensually thing and they were hiding this affair and yada, yada, yada. And I don't see it that way personally. I mean, and granted, I haven't seen or know, like this isn't somebody involved from what I've gathered in these tapes of them, doing it to others in a way, criminally, like we've heard in some of these suits. This is just, it almost feels like, again, if it's real, like blackmail material that Diddy keeps to sort of hold over these people's heads. And to me, that's awful to the people in it, whether they agreed or knew or whatever. It still just feels like that's no one's freaking business. And maybe they were doing it for reasons we don't know. Just because we saw it in the tape doesn't mean they weren't feeling pressured in other ways, right? So it's a heavy and complicated thing, but it's not a hard decision to say I can't run with trying to even allude to who these people are.
The desperate moves came fast after that. Ross's team tried to get the tapes taken down with copyright claims, but by then, 50 had already spread them everywhere. Ross then started offering serious money to anyone who could help him figure out who gave 50 the footage. He was throwing around numbers that had people's jaws dropping, millions, just to track down the person who'd been recording him. By the time the sun came up, Ross had violated about 6 different Instagram policies and had his account restricted 3 times. But instead of cooling down, he just kept making new burner accounts, getting more reckless with each post. His lawyers were calling nonstop, his business partners were threatening to pull out of deals, and still, Ross wouldn't stop. But the real kicker? Ross started bringing other artists' names into it. He was airing out everybody's dirty laundry, who didn't pay for verses, who's been faking streaming numbers, who's got secret deals they haven't told the public about. It was like watching someone set fire to their own house just to try and burn the whole neighborhood down. That's when the industry started splitting into teams. You had folks who'd been waiting years for Ross to be exposed, jumping in with 50, sharing their own stories. Then you had others trying to defend Ross, arguing that 50 went too far, but the way Ross was acting, he made it real hard for anyone to stand with him. Once you start threatening people's families and exposing all their secrets, folks begin backing away real quick.
Yeah, I 100% agree. Like, let's let this play out in the legal realm. If you ever get Ariel on your show, I'd love to talk with her and have this conversation if she's willing to do it publicly, because I still don't understand what her role is in all this. And I've heard at times broker, I've heard at times advocate for victim, and I don't want to judge what she's doing or not doing. I'd love to just have a conversation about it, because I personally don't get it, right? This is a very sensitive thing. Again, if this gets turned over to the feds and the feds bring claims and this is outed, that's a totally different story. But the feds do what they're going to do. Like what we talked about months ago on your show, right? When this first went down, we knew when hard drives were seized and things happened that, look, they're going to build a case. They're going to build a case that they think they can prosecute. It's not for us to speculate what's there or what's not. But to say, you have tangible evidence of something on camera that you've seen and that it's being sold in order to protect someone,
to avoid being publicly named, which is what even the lawyers are now admitting. It all feels really dirty and shady, man.
The only person that makes sense that could buy this is the victim, right? If the victim says, I don't want this to come out. Yes, it was consensual, but I don't want it to come out. I didn't know I was being recorded. Give it to that person.
Right, I guess, but you're right, because then they can actually own it. Maybe there is a version of this, so that's what Ariel's trying to allude to. You'll own it, and no other network's going to be able to buy it or show it if you own it and haven't given permission. I guess, is that maybe part of what they're trying to do here, in that the celebrity who buys it can actually then control it just from a clearance standpoint?
Yeah, it still raises some legal concerns, right? Because let me say it this way. If this was a transaction, if this is a business transaction wherein the victim is then acquiring the exclusive rights to this tape or tapes, and that the person who recorded it is avowing that they will not use it, I don't know where that leaves P. Diddy and the feds, right? But they have an independent right to bring this stuff to light if it gets prosecuted. But my point is, if you're transferring legal rights of this consensual or non-consensually recorded tape to the victim, I think that's a better position to be in. But then the question is this person even in a position to be able to buy the tape, right? Are they a high-level celebrity? Like, who are they? We can assume that they're celebrities with millions and millions of dollars to expend on something like this. Just raises a lot of questions, right?